Right. That's us on to the album reviews then.
Yeah, man. So are we just going to go for chronological order?
Yep, let's do it.
That would make sense. So start with.
Lost tapes.
So now we're going to be looking at the lost tapes of the 27 Club from Over the Bridge. This was released at the start of the year on the 15th of January by Toronto-based mental health charity Over the Bridge. Over the Bridge are a charity that aims to provide help and support to people working in the music industry who may be struggling with mental health and addiction issues through online peer support and recovery-focused and educational workshops. This album was created as a means of highlighting the problems that exist within the music industry. On their website, they discuss how, as long as there has been popular music, musicians and crews have struggled with mental health at a rate that far exceeds the general population, and far from being ignored, has been romanticised with the creation of the likes of the 27 Club. In an article that I read online on Rolling Stone by Corey Grow from the 2nd of April, Sean O'Connor, one of the board of directors at Over the Bridge, described it as being seen as something that is in some way intrinsic to musicians' art or their genius, and described it as being viewed as authentic suffering. The 27 Club are, for those of you who aren't aware, are a collection of popular musicians and artists who have died at the age of 27. Most notably Brian Jones, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, Kurt Cobain, and more recently Amy Winehouse, although there are numerous others. For example, the bassist from Viola Beach, Thomas Lowe, is in there, as is the actor Anton Yelchin from Star Trek and kind of numerous other things, both of whom passed away in 2016. The album itself was created using Google's artificial intelligence AI program, Magenta, which learns how to compose in the style of given artists by analysing their previous work. The staff at Over the Bridge submitted songs in the form of MIDI files. The program then picks out the artist's most notable rhythmic choices, harmonies, and then comes up with a finished product. And basically the staff then picked out the best bits from each of these and then spliced them together. I believe, from what I read, they submitted between 20 to 30 MIDI files for each artist and then brought in singers working in tribute acts to do the vocals.
All right.
So the album is 4 tracks long and clocks in just under the 13-minute mark at 12 minutes and 22 seconds long. So it opens with The Roads Are Alive, which is, of course, a homage to Jim Morrison. Jim Morrison was the lead singer of the band The Doors, for those of you who aren't aware. He passed away in 1971, not long after the release of their last studio album, LA Women, which featured in my top 5 favourite albums of all time. It's an absolute banger and one definitely worth checking out. Coincidentally, this album opens with the sound of kind of the whistling wind, which is quite quickly accompanied by a tinkling hi-hat and cymbals, which feels quite reminiscent of the opening bars of Riders on the Storm, which is the last song on LA Women. The vocals come in around the kind of 10-second mark, and to be honest, they're pretty convincing. As are the lyrics, if I'm honest. The song then takes on more of a rollicking and raucous kind of Roadhouse blues vibe, which I loved, and it's amongst some of my favourite kind of Door stuff. We're treated to this really driving, fat and bluesy guitar riff, whilst a faux Ray Manzarek kind of vamps over the top of it with this kind of maniacal spiraling synth, which I loved. There's some shouted vocals, again, really up my street. And then the song kind of fades out at just under the 3-minute mark. And to be fair, it's largely an instrumental piece, apart from the initial few bars and the kind of bit at the end. Jim's vocals are mostly confined to him shouting over the top of the hubbub of the instrumentation. However, I nevertheless really enjoyed it. What did you think of it, man?
Yeah, I really liked it. And I don't know, going into this, I'd only heard the Nirvana song, and so I wasn't sure how to feel about the Doors one, because I'm not huge. Like, I do like the Doors, but I'm not I'm not as au fait with their back catalogue as you are. So I wasn't really necessarily expecting it to be good, but it's brilliant. Like, absolutely. I like it. Like, it's kind of quite spooky when it starts, and it's almost just Jim's, fake Jim's voice on his own. and then it bursts in with that, like you say, that really groovy organ sort of solo that it just turns it into like a really dancey number. But like you say, the kind of Jim Morrison like shouting like over the top of that just every now and again helps to punctuate it. And okay, he's not singing, but it's really, I think, really effective. So yeah, I think I really like that song. For some reason, I decided I would rate them individually. I don't know why
Okay.
I did on this,
Why not?
but so I give that a 9 out of 10. So like a really good track, man.
Yeah, I've kind of waxed lyrical about it as you just saw. um, I really enjoyed it as well, man. And I've written here that I think it could pass as a pretty convincing B-side to an unsuspecting listener. I've then gone on to say that as a Jim Morrison and the Doors fan, I just found that there was something missing.
Okay.
This is me getting a bit, I don't know. I'm going to
So
go off
maybe,
one. I'm going to
yeah,
go off on one here.
maybe it
Um,
helps that I'm more of a casual fan, I guess.
Yeah, no, I think it's more. I don't know. See what you make of this. See, I'll see what I'll tell you what I've written. So as I said, like to an unsuspected listener, I think it could quite easily pass as a pretty convincing B side. However, as a Doors fan, I just kind of felt as if there was something missing, and I don't know if that was a subconscious thing because I knew that it wasn't Jim Morrison.
Aye.
You know, there was something there that I couldn't quite put my finger on. I don't want to say that it sounded soulless because it definitely didn't, but there was something lacking, something that you can't quite quantify. And I've written that I suppose, you know, when we're getting down to it, effectively, that's the crux of it. That's the whole meaning behind the album, isn't it? It's about celebrating that genius and giving us pause for thought as to how valuable these people were to our collective consciousness
Yeah.
and appreciation of music and how they were taken from us too soon. Got
Yeah.
heavy, man. But that's basically what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I think probably the fact that we know it's just a facsimile of
Yeah.
these artists, so it's never going to be genuine. But I think what they've done a really good job of making it sound authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, the one that I first heard was the Kurt Cobain, the sort of new Nirvana song called "Drowned in the Sun,"
Yeah.
and when I first saw that, the headlines were like a new Nirvana song written by AI, and you're like, that's going to be shit. Like that's what I thought. This is going to be
and
shit.
it's not.
And I put that on, and I was fucking blown away. Like it could be like a lost Nirvana demo. Like it really could. I think. And if somebody played it to me and said this is a lost Nirvana demo, I wouldn't even have questioned it. It just
No.
sounds authentic. This sort of jangly guitar that opens it up is reminiscent of something like Endless Nameless. The chorus is fucking massive. Like these big meaty riffs, like it sounded like the sort of you're right kind of style riffing, and that chorus that goes, "I don't care, I feel as one, I drowned in the sun now, I drowned in the sun." It's so good, man, so good. It's like it is kind of mental to think that a lot of this was figured out by artificial intelligence, but and there's a little change at the end. The outro's a bit more relaxed. I felt that was a little bit abrupt, but the more I listen to it, the more I can enjoy it because it's kind of like a little bit of a throwback to MTV Unplugged and that kind of style of Nirvana. So yeah, I quite like that a lot.
Yeah. I would agree with that kind of abrupt change just towards the end of the song, but I think it works quite well. To be honest, I've kind of said that there's somewhat of an abrupt change around the kind of 2.5 minute mark, where the song kind of takes on more of a in bloom feel to it. However, for me, it kind of melds pretty well together, and it's you can forgive it. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel jarring or anything like that in any way.
I could listen to that chorus like all day on repeat. It's that good. I've scored them all. I gave it a 9 out of 10. So I've been really taken in by these. So the other two, I've got Jimi Hendrix,
Yeah,
song called "You're Going to Kill Me," and it again feels just like a classic Hendrix song right from the off. It's got his signature crooning guitar, and it's got a bit of a sort of live recording feel. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
where it's been
see,
sampled from, but it sounds like a kind of natural live recording.
see the kind of sustain that you get on the guitar, like in the opening bars of the song. For me, that's quintessential Hendrix. That when I heard that, I was like, "Hey, that sounds a hell of a lot like Hendrix."
They've nailed it, have they?
Yeah,
I think the vocals for me, when they first came in, sounded a bit off. They didn't quite gel or sound quite right. But then there's a good section where he sings, because when it comes to it, you're going to kill me. I've been in hell enough, baby. That's fucking brilliant. And just launches into one of those stabbing guitar licks that Hendrix is known for. So again, it's really good. There's nods to the likes of Foxy and Purple Haze and Voodoo Child, and it kind of sits nicely alongside those classic songs. So again, I think it works quite well. I gave that one an 8.
What did you make of the last track? Man, I know, a homage to Amy Winehouse,
This is the song I like the least,
right?
but
But it's still good.
it's still good. It's one of Amy Winehouse's slower style, more brooding, sort of introspective, contemplative kind of songs. It doesn't really. There are some bursts of like brass here and there, like she's known for, but it's not as bombastic as the likes of something like Rehab, those style of choruses. I think that's the only criticism of it for me. It doesn't have that moment for me. It's more relaxed. And I just want a bit more infinite somewhere, but it is a good song.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed it.
It actually reminded me a little bit of Arlo Parks. I wonder if we missed a trick when we were reviewing her, not mentioning Amy Winehouse, because there are similarities.
There are. It's funny because like I don't know that much of Amy Winehouse's material. Like, I know Rehab. I know the Zootons cover of Valerie.
Yeah.
But when writing the notes for this, I've described it as being a really kind of smooth, slick number, and I've actually went on to say that it's for me it had all the hallmarks of what people would expect from an Amy Winehouse number. It has the brass section, it has the trumpets, that kind of tinkling piano, the groovy flourishes that you get every now and again. For me, I mean, I really enjoyed the vocals, but I loved the drum beat. I just loved that kind of lovely shuffling drum beat. That's the bit that I enjoyed the most in this track, to be honest. How did you rate that?
I've given it a 7.
7. That's good.
Still good, man. I mean, I think it just goes to show how strong this is and how much care has been put into it. Because you could have just been like, right, let's just feed all this music into Google's machine and spit it back out, and then we'll just put that up.
Totally.
And they've had to pick and choose what's come out and expertly like craft it all together so it sounds convincing, which I think is it's a difficult thing to do. So I think they've really, really succeeded. And I don't know if I've seen a whole lot of press for this. Like there was definitely when the Nirvana thing, people started gravitating towards that, but that was only recently, and this has been out since January.
Well, that Rolling Stone article that I was telling you about, that's from last month, the start of last month.
Aye. So it seemed to take a wee bit to kind of work its way through the system, but annoyingly, they've took it off of Spotify in this country.
They have, I noticed that, but it's still available on YouTube.
Aye, which is where I had to re-listen to it, but it's a wee bit annoying. I don't think it's on Bandcamp, although I don't think you can, because it's probably sort of a legal grey area. I don't know how you...
Yeah, because even if you go to the Over the Bridge website, I think it just tells you about the album and the intent of the album rather than directing you to any of the music.
Aye, so it's like it is raising awareness. It's not necessarily like raising money for charity or anything, but it's trying to raise awareness of mental health, specifically in the music industry, but just kind of overall as well. But that's it's quite a fascinating piece of work.
Yeah, absolutely. But you're right. It seems to be that despite the popularity of the other false artists feature on that feature on the album. It seems to be that most people and most journalists have gravitated towards the Kurt Cobain one. I don't know why that is.
That seemed to get the most press, and that's the thing that caught my attention.
Got your attention.
And then I cynically thought we'd be shite, but so really pleasantly surprised that this is actually like a really worthwhile project and not a kind of just half-arsed attempt. So yeah, did you rate it? I don't know if it's really.
Well, I've given it an 8.
I rated the tracks. I don't really know why I did it that way, but
I've given it an 8.
I could count those up and do an average, but I'm not. But I'd like an 8, like something like that. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that was Lost Tapes of the 27 Club from Over the Bridge.
Sad face is like a bouquet of pain.
Seen it all, but it doesn't show one bit. My mind never rests.
It's not finished. It's finished.